Howdy, howdy, howdy. How's everybody doing tonight? And thank you for joining us here on this wonderful Sunday evening here in July. Oh, it's a scorcher out there today. My daughter and I went out to see the air show and it absolutely sucked. I'm so glad that we didn't pay to get into that thing. My goodness, what a mess it was. Three good performances out of the whole day. I want to thank everybody for being here. I had a great time last night. I hope everybody enjoyed the great live with Miriam Francis last night. It was great to have Miriam back. It was awesome to hear from her, see how she's doing, getting an update on her life and how everything is. The DSR has worked wonders for her. Everybody saw she was pretty much just glowing the whole time. And it was actually kind of funny because she was telling me how she felt nervous about doing the live stream, and I was like, you're with friends here, don't worry about that, we're all here for you. And yes, my bad actor shirt has come in and I am proudly displaying my bad actor shirt. If you want your own, you can get one at the Fourth Wall shop. We have that, the bad actor shirt, and the I'm a plant, because we're a bunch of us are plants and we got to be handled appropriately. So let's see who all's in here tonight. As always, my awesome admin mod, Miss Laura Waldy. Some weirdo named Clearwater Chad, who seems to be some kind of stalker or something like that. I'm going to have to get a TRO on this guy. He's something else. Mona Englert, Indigo Twin, Mischief Managed. Let's see here. Make sure we're getting everybody. Lisa Robinson. And every time I'm going to talk about that dog, I love that picture. Selena, how you doing, Selena? I didn't get a chance to say hello to you last night, but welcome. As always, Selena's awesome member of the family here. Always in here, great stuff. Dusty Soda Dispenser. Well, Dusty, we'll talk after the live tonight, but it happens, brother. It happens. Kristen, Carrick, how are you doing tonight? Verity. So let's make sure. Oh my goodness, look who's in the chat now. Oh, there we go. And Ben J. Becky, I talked to Jamie today, and he and I were talking about got an announcement as it pertains to Jamie, and he said, as long as me and Becky aren't on there, at least somebody else will get to talk. So it was pretty funny. Natalie's Body Thinking, welcome. Thomas Foster, how you doing? Let's see here. All right, make sure we're not missing too many folks here. Grand Theft Hoopty, as always, love that name. Fat Grammy. Mona, how you doing tonight? Mona, did you get the email I sent you? Marilyn would love to get in contact with you, so I exchange y'all's email addresses, and that way you guys could talk back and forth. Miriam's doing great, and I think that y'all will have some great conversations. Butterfly, how you doing? Hey, thank you, Pup Groomer, and it was amazing. Got to see Pup Groomer on Dusty's live tonight. That was pretty neat. It's really weird when you get to start putting faces to names that you see in chat, because you never get to see these folks. All you see is names. Miss Chicago, how much you doing? I don't know, Miss Chicago. How much is it going to cost you? Jay Trav, how you doing? From Omaha. Awesome. All right. It looks like we've got through everybody. Let's see. I did. Okay. Excellent. Great, Mona. I think that you guys are going to have some great conversations. I think it's amazing. Tonight, I want to, been doing a lot of positive stuff, been doing a lot of trying to do informative, educational, entertaining kinds of live streams. And the thing is, sometimes we got to stop. You got to stop. You got to smell the roses. You got to see what's going on. And if you're one of those 5 folks that was gifted a membership from Pup Groomer, make sure you let Pup Groomer know that you appreciate it. And howdy, my buddy Dave from Gotta Love Thailand's here. It is 7:05 in the morning there, Dave. So he's got a great channel. We did a raid on his channel last night. I don't know, because I was in the backstage of the studio here with Miriam, I didn't get a chance till a little bit later to jump in on Dave's live. But I hope, quite a few people got over there and got to say howdy to Dave and hit that like button for him. So yeah, 705 over there in Thailand. He lives in Surin, Thailand, which is northeast of Bangkok, and it's n- uh, not too bad in distance from the Cambodian border. Real good guy, retired out, living over there, living his best life. He's a real good person. I think he's a good guy. He's a stand-up person, and I think he's someone that puts out some great content. So and tonight when I was thinking about what I'm going to do, one of the things I wanted to take a moment and reflect on some things. Talk about some things that have happened. Talk about some folks who are no longer with us, some folks who are still alive, but we hear so little about them. And I just want to make sure that we're keeping people in our memories, remembering that there are people who are still trapped in this cult. And we need to remember them. We need to think about them. We need to be a beacon out there. Hopefully someone that is one of those downloads that's on the in Scientology that's actually watching the content from SPTV, they're going to be able to get this information over to those folks. And this channel started off, and someone became a really good friend of mine, and I've had him on pretty much every Sunday for over a year now. He's a great friend of the channel, and let's make sure we say howdy to our good friend Clearwater Chad. How you doing, brother?
Good. Thanks for having me, Bo. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's been over a year now, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We met right when my channel started, so it's been about a year and a half, I think.
Wow.
Well before SPTV.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look now. You've got let's see here. You've got over 1,000 videos now.
Yep.
What's going on with that? I've only got 436. You got over 1,000, dude. What's going on with you?
Been hitting it hard, Bo. Yeah, we met. You were you were overseas when we met. Remember?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think I was in Malaysia at that point,
Yeah.
wasn't I?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, did oh yeah, we were talking about that. You didn't get a chance to hear Miriam talking about you last night, did you?
No, I got to rewatch that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Chad was hard at work and didn't get a chance to catch it, but Miriam she loves his content. She thinks he's hilarious, and it was really nice to, like I said, it was nice to see her. She looked like she was absolutely glowing. She was smiling constantly. It was just great to see how she's come about since she's gotten her DSR. And for a lot of you folks that have gotten the DSR and, you're wanting follow-ups, you're wanting to know what's going on and everything, next Sunday night at 8 p.m., we're going to have the return of Mr. Jamie Mustard to the channel. Been talking to Jamie today. He's going to be back next Sunday. We're going to do a catch up. We're going to follow up on what's new within the world of the DSR, and just see how he's doing. Talking about how Miriam's been doing with that, but there's a ton of other people who've gone through it as well. And there you go. Kelly Williams says, "I'm a vegan. Can I be a plant?" Yep. Yeah, we're pretty much all plants here. So it's going to be awesome. We'll have Jamie on next Sunday night. We're going to, catch up with everything. When you listen to Miriam as she's talking about the DSR and everything that's been going on, she is Exiled One. DSR is for, it's what they're using it for is for a lot of folks who have PTSI, formerly known as PTSD. It is a new treatment that, it's not a new treatment. It's a new way of treating it with a medication that's been out since 1929. And so what's going on is called, there you go, Mona got it, dual sympathetic reset. And it is having almost magical results with folks who are suffering from PTSI. And it's some amazing stuff. And the person who is the pretty much the arrowhead behind what is going on with the treatment and everything with PTSI is a gentleman named Jamie Mustard, who is a former Scientologist. We've had him on the channel a few times now. Really great guy. Horrendous horrendous childhood, literally born. No, I don't think it has anything to do with ketamine. If anyone who's had it that's in here right now can go a little deeper into that. But if you want to be here next Sunday night, Exiled One, the thing is that you're going to hear it right from the horse's mouth. You're going to hear it from the person who is spearheading this. They started getting a lot of usage of it with treating special forces soldiers in the United States military, and they were having insane results with it. And basically what was happening was this treatment, which was originally designed, it's a medication that was designed for stopping tremors in hands. And then they found that women who were going through menopause were having amazing results with the effects of menopause on them. And then further studies started going into it, and they found that with the batches of nerves running down the sides of the neck, by administering this treatment into that nerve bunching, it's able to have tremendous effects on PTSI, or formerly known as PTSD. And it's really it's an amazing treatment, and everybody that I've talked to that's gone through it has had results that are just out of this world. Chad, have you been able to talk to anyone who's gone through the treatment at all?
No, I haven't, but that's great from what you just said, Paul. I didn't know it was that. I didn't know it was that great.
Oh yeah, it's yeah. Exiled One, next Sunday when Jamie's here, you'll be able to ask questions directly of the person who is spearheading the campaign, getting this out there. Jamie's got some updates about the treatments, about the pricing of the treatments, about new doctors that he's working with, new treatment centers that are going to be offering it as well. So there's going to be a lot of great updates on this, and hopefully we're going to be able to hear from a lot of people who've gone through the treatment and are going to be able to give their testimony as to it as well. It's unbelievable stuff. So Chad, when we talk about the folks who that are no longer with us, that are former Scientologists, what's the first name that comes to mind for you?
Oh, Lisa McPherson.
Absolutely, yeah. And the Lisa McPherson case is truly a study in how you can manipulate the police, the coroner's office, the prosecutor's office. When you talk about Lisa McPherson and you talk about the fact of how she was locked in that hotel room, how she passed away under the conditions that she passed away under, how when she had clear psychiatric needs that were not being taken care of, and is instead told that she has Lyme disease. She's told that, she needs to go through the purification rundown. And what did they find when they got to that hotel room? They found a dehydrated person, and someone that, clearly had not been given the treatment that they needed. Some things that really got me about this was the detectives working the case. And Exiled One, I'm starring your comment. I'll get to that in a little bit here. But when you start looking into it, the detectives who were in charge of the case, where they didn't speak directly with the person who was supposed to have been there being the caretaker of Lisa McPherson, that they spoke to someone on the phone. And one of the things I talk about when I'm talking about the Lisa McPherson case is, in my personal history as a law enforcement officer, over 32 years in law enforcement, as a detective sergeant, and actually a detective lieutenant briefly before I was promoted into the administrative section. But I never, unless I could pick up my cell phone and I knew I had that person's contact in my cell phone and I knew their voice when I talked to them on the phone, I would never just talk to someone on the phone, especially in a case where you have someone who's no longer with us. And the rule of thumb in law enforcement is anytime that it's not by natural causes departing of life, it's to be looked at as a homicide, because until you get all of the information back, it cannot be deemed that it's anything else. The coroner is going to have to be the one who's going to have to go through it and say, this is natural causes, this is that. And I've got the actual coroner's report from the Lisa McPherson case, and I'm going to be going over that. I'm literally going to be picking that apart. That's going to be probably my next true crime episode when I go into it. But the thing is that as you look at this case and you look at how it was handled, I got to say the reporting was very good. The officers did a great job of reporting. It's how the case itself was handled. And then when you hear Render talking about how, you know, when Miriam was at one point, Miriam's mother had been moved to LA from, I believe, from Australia. And it was at that point, and folks were like, well, Render's the one who had her moved over there. And Render, when he was talking to John Atack, says, how could I have done that? I was in Clearwater dealing with the Lisa McPherson case. And so many things start falling into place, and you start realizing that, you know, there's so much manipulation. There's so much false flags. There's so many things that are done to obstruct the investigation, to obstruct how law enforcement, the media, the government see things within Scientology. You have to start thinking about it more on the level of not just the fact that you have the Lisa McPherson, you have the Whitney Mills. Then you think about Bob Ferris. All right, Bob Ferris, as far as we know, is still alive. But the last known photograph of Bob Ferris that I know of is of this man in his late 70s digging ditches outside of a chain link fence in California in the California sun. And sorry, somebody just messaged me. But the thing is that when you think about Bob Ferris and you think about at his age what's going on, you start thinking about the fact of how many other folks that are still in Scientology, that are still alive. No one knows where they are or who they are. And the thing is that we have to remember all of these people, not just the ones who've passed, but the ones who are alive also, that are carrying the burden, the injuries that Scientology has put upon them. Last night when I was talking to Miriam, we were talking about the fact that in Scientology, you know, and how this led to her, you know, part of her PTSD and her ongoing traumas that she has to deal with, is the fact that you're not allowed, you have to make things right. Everything falls on you. It can't be something else. You have to be the one who is the problematic person. You have to be the one who takes all the responsibility for everything that's going on. And so you think about these things, you think about what's going on with that. Think about these folks who are now out of Scientology, but they're scarred for life because of what happened to them. And our list expands more and more and more, because now we have folks that are no longer in Scientology, but they're still victims of Scientology and the atrocities that happened to them. Exiled One, you were wanting to know, I've heard of some treatments that are, I don't know anything about the hallucinogen stuff. I'm not a doctor, but I don't know anything about any hallucinogenic effects or anything like that. I would not know. But there's some websites that you can go to. Here is the Stella Center in Melbourne, Australia. It's stellacenter.com.au. And they have a lot about the treatments there that you can check out. It's it's some really interesting stuff. Everybody make sure you say hi to Ree. She's Ree's Connecting, friend of the channel here, and good person, knows Perth. So I hear y'all got like a little gaggle going over there. Let's see here. Flea Factory. Render constantly uses this as an excuse as to why he couldn't have possibly covered up Miriam's case. Why? Because you were too busy covering up a homicide? because that's so much better. Well, if you remember last night when I was talking to Miriam about this, and they were talking about how one of the things that you do when you're in trouble is you offer up a lesser crime for what's going on. So, I don't know how that would be a lesser crime, but apparently that's what he thinks. Chad, do you think that's a valid excuse?
Yeah,
I mean,
it sounds like he did some bad stuff,
yeah,
which is fine if you could admit it.
yeah, and Liz Gale's brother. I was going to bring that up, Selena. Yeah, Exiled One. The reason it's called PTSI is because they're now looking at it instead of a disorder as an injury. So it's post-traumatic stress injury is what they're calling it, and that's the new acronym that they're using for it. And the results are amazing. So yeah, I would definitely, your friends that are veterans of Iraq and the Middle East conflicts that have been going on, definitely start steering them towards it. I'm going to put a book up here. This is Jamie Mustard's book. It's called The Invisible Machine, if I could learn how to talk properly. And it goes into a lot about that. And everybody, make sure you say howdy to our friend Lori Plays. Lori will be here tomorrow night with me. We're actually going to be going over some unbelievable stories that real stories that we've dealt with in law enforcement. There are incidents, and that's why the thumbnail for it is you can't make this ish up. Literally, there are stuff that we've seen as law enforcement that you just can't make up, whatever. And it's going to be tomorrow night at 8:00. Lori's going to be joining me. Lori, also another retired law enforcement officer, a sheriff's deputy from Florida. And, we've got some crazy stories. How many, like Mike Brown's mother's situation, that are still trapped in Scientology? Well, that's the thing, Thomas, is that's why, as we're talking about the Lisa McPhersons, we talk about the Whitney Mills, we have to remember the Bob Ferrises, the Heber Gensches. We have to keep these folks in our mind, as to these are living people that are still trapped in this world. When I talk to Farrell Cheryl, she talks about her father and how, even though he was no longer a Scientologist, till the day he passed away, he still believed in the tech. He still believed in auditing. He still believed in what Hubbard said. The only reason he was not currently a Scientologist up till he passed away is because he hated David Miscavige. And they felt that David Miscavige was basically the Antichrist of Scientology. And there's a lot of people like that. Miss Sunrise Dawn, he's 73. Okay, well, it's still in the 70s. I remember, because he's only about a week older than my dad. My dad is a hard worker, and I can't imagine him out there doing that manual labor in the elements. I've got a good friend, and sometimes y'all will see me wearing my Bush and Son landscaping supplies shirt. Real good friends of mine, Jack Bush and his son Tim Bush. Tim Bush is a real good friend of mine. Jack is 76 years old and still works 6 days a week on loaders, excavators, bulldozers. I mean, you ain't keeping this guy down. And he had triple bypass. 2 days later, he's sitting on top of a bulldozer leveling out a field. I looked at him and I'm like, dude. And he's like, yeah, you go over and try to get him off that bulldozer and see if you don't get whooped trying to do that. And I was like, okay. So, and that's just how some folks are. But you look at Bob Ferris, I mean, he didn't look like he was having fun out there. He did not look like he was enjoying it. Chad, do you know any folks like that are up there in age and just won't stop?
I've known people like that in the past, and if they're doing this because of something they love, I think that's great, not because they have to, like Bob Ferris.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you look at my mom. My mom's going to be 77 years old, and that woman, if she's not at church cleaning, she's working, cleaning other people's houses, doesn't need to. but it keeps her going. And I know some folks saw the photos that I had posted. My mom literally has a section of her yard that we're out there walking around in, and I'm like, man, Mom, those flowers are gorgeous. And she goes, you know, the funny thing is I never planted them, but she's got amazing growth going on in her yard. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, I just come out one day and they were there. They were growing. I'm like, my goodness. But you know, that's, some folks are like that. You can't stop them. But I mean, let's be honest. Do you think that Bob Ferris wants to be out there digging them rocks up on the side of that fence? You know, I mean, I know that's what you like to do for fun, Chad, but not everybody else likes to do it. So, oh, and Doug, you're planning a fishing trip, you dirty son of a. Well, I hope you have fun. You know me, I'm always up for drowning some bait. So let's see here. Fat Grammy, sorry, wasn't able to type, but was the pun intended to catch up with Jamie Mustard. Okay.
Nice.
And don't throw tomatoes at me. When I find out more, I'll share it with them. I may steer towards here. Absolutely. Exiled One, you're always welcome. And, you know, that's the thing is that, you know, if you got questions, ask them. And if I know the answers, I'll answer it. But you know, next Sunday night with Jamie Mustard, directly from the horse's mouth on that one. My son is Kelly Williams. My son is in the Air Force. He helps train the medics. I told him about the procedure and he looked into it. He thinks it's definitely something I should think about. Yeah. Yeah. And there you go. You got someone who is much more of a medical person than I am. All right. My expertise in medicine is, hey doc, I done screwed something up. That's my expertise. Chad, you used to be a doctor, didn't you?
I wish, Poe. Doctors make a lot of money.
Oh, you've just got your master's degree, don't you?
That's right, Poe.
Let's see here. Let's see what else we've got on. So, folks, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you know or know of that is a victim of Scientology? And let's just keep building this list as we go. I want to hear from you. I want to know who you think about. What names come to mind when you think of victims of Scientology? And Chad, why don't you start us off with one that you could think of?
I was just going to say, I forgot her name, Poe, but what about that reporter in the 70s? They messed with her big time.
Paulette Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, definitely. Even is Paulette still alive? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. If she's alive, she's probably retired, but
Paulette Cooper is an American author. Yeah, so apparently Paulette is still with us. You know, and then you think about Mr. Miller, who I had on the channel for a live. It was actually his last interview he was ever doing concerning Scientology. Russell Miller, the author of The Barefaced Messiah, the book about L. Ron Hubbard and his lies, his distortions, the things that he was doing. And, you know, the amazing thing is that, you know, here is a guy that they did him dirty like they did Paulette. They actually tried to get him literally charged with homicide, with murder, and tried to get him not only charged with it, but they were trying to get him imprisoned for it. So that's, wow, it's amazing. Yeah, Operation Freakout, Paulette, where they were literally, they went in and I think they used her typewriter to type out a threat of a bang bang, a boom, and had it delivered to Scientology, and then used that as their proof to try and say that she was planning on doing a terrorist act against Scientology. And then that led to the infiltration, the finding out about the infiltration of the FBI by Scientology, the biggest ever infiltration into our into the FBI that's ever happened. So I mean, it's amazing the lengths that they're willing to go to harm people. Let's see. Okay, we've been through that one already. Let's see here from Rosemary. Absolutely, Mike Brown's mother, Rosemary, just a wonderful woman. And then when you see how Mike has been treating his mother and the things he's been doing for his mother. I mean, talk about such a stand-up person, you know. Fleet Factory, I have reached out to Paulette. I just don't know if she's down for, you know, I mean, the scars and the traumas that she's had. I you know, do we want to bring those back into light with the fact that you know, I don't know. I've reached out, and if she's willing, she's definitely got a welcome spot here.
Yeah, that's great.
So you got another one?
Oh no, there was a comment. Selena said it was horrible what they did to John Sweeney too.
Yeah, John Sweeney, and that was the famous mental breakdown that he had because of Mike Render.
Yep.
Where he literally lost it because Render and the rest of his little OSA group were hounding this man relentlessly, and he finally had just had it. And yeah, I mean, that's a great one there.
It was Tommy Davis, right? Tommy kept getting him going, and then he finally blew up.
I thought Render was the one who was actually.
Render was right there too, though.
Yeah,
right next to him. Yeah,
and smiling at it the whole time that he was having his breakdown. Fat Grammy, one of our chatters, Chuck Beatty, absolutely endlessly harassed. Haven't seen him in a while though. He was in just about a week ago, so he's been in here. Let's see. Chad, Nora knows the Something Anderson guy on YouTube. Might want to reach out to her directly.
Okay, you know, that's about because I did a video just a few minutes ago about the hate channels. I think they should stop, and that's one of them is that Thomas guy and True Clear Media. Oh, sorry for calling him out, Poet. But I think those channels should stop.
Okay. Joel McCoy, Andrew, Susan, Mary, and Stanley Westmoreland, friends of mine from the 60s, family totally destroyed by Scientology. Let's keep it going, folks. All these names, everyone that we bring up here is someone that needs to be remembered. Their memory needs to be out there. The fact of what happened to them is what needs to be. You know, we need to keep them in our thoughts and in our prayers. It was actually Render and Tommy Davis. So, yeah. Chad, where is your bad actor shirt?
I know I should order one.
Rosa, no, you.
I got my. You got my original Clearwater Chat.
You need your I'm a Plant shirt.
All
so right. Let's see here. Let's see. Watching Aaron talk about his relationship as a child with his mom was sad. It still hurts him. Jenna looked like she was shedding a tear too. You listen to what has gone on in the lives of these folks, and you listen to the stories. And I know I go back to it quite often, but I think Jamie Mustard is the epiphany of how children are treated growing up in Scientology. Born, taken directly from the delivery room, handed over to Scientology. And okay, I was looking at one of the comments there. Handed over to Scientology, basically raised in a child factory. That is the story of a victim. That is the story of someone, an innocent, that was deprived of innocence by this cult. When we look at the Mace Kingsley website for their family center or whatever it's called down in Clearwater, when they directly quote L. Ron Hubbard saying a child a day old should be audited because that child is not a child. That child is an old soul in a young body. Those are the things that you realize why there is no care. There is no attention to the fact that these things are happening to children by other Scientologists because they don't perceive them as children. Let's see.
True. Very true.
Let's see here. The real sassafras. I just received a letter from my landlord's attorney accusing me of things that they have done to fair game me this year. Talk about gaslighting. It's absolutely ludicrous. Difference. I have proof. There you go.
Wow.
And I've talked about it, what I've had to deal with. Chad actually got a taste of how it feels, when we were down in Clearwater, and we've talked about that before. Chad, have you experienced any other things in your daily life from other than the time we were chased in Clearwater?
Other than the time, no. I guess I'm not important enough to be, whatever you want to call it.
Clearwater Chad's important. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, yeah. I have, because I do look around and I don't see anyone follow me or anything.
Yeah. And this is unbelievable that these things are happening, and only in Scientology. They have managed to not suffer any consequences for their actions. It's about time they should. That's what's happening now with all these channels, with the SPTV community, with the anti-Scientology community. This is where things are starting to turn with folks like Mona Fat Grammy, and the things that she's coming up with in ways that we can go at Scientology, the way that we can deal with them. And I know I beat that dead horse to oblivion, but the fact is that the things that Mona's coming up with, no one else has thought about so far. She's coming up with ideas that other people just have not thought about, and they are amazing, some of them. I can't wait till they actually get into practice and they happen, and then the next thing you know, people are going to know who Mona is. Let's see, Mona Englert, the other twinsy. Nathan Rich comes to mind. He was a victim of the Mace Kingsley Ranch in New Mexico. There you go. Let's keep hearing them. Let's see. SPTV never ends, and Arctology so messy and so sad. I'm glad these people have this community. And that's what, one of the things. The community needs to be not only about fighting Scientology, but being a support network for the victims of Scientology. And I think that by bringing the names up, remembering those who are gone, keeping the names who are still in and are still victims, and that's how we continue to make their memory continue with it. Yeah, Chad, do you have trolls?
A couple, yeah.
I mean, I'm very fortunate that I have amazing mods on my channel. There's one called some Chad guy that never seems to do anything as a mod, but but my mods, I mean, you talk about, they're on it. Shouldn't have done that. They're on it. They take care of things. They get the trolls out immediately. I just think you need to get some good mods on your channel there if you don't have them already, Chad. I think that would be real good for you.
No, I do have some good mods, Paul. Most of them are the same ones as you have, so they're really great.
This Mona Englert, I tell you what, if I ask a question I don't know the answer, she drops the receipts right into the bucket. Miriam's friend Sana, she was on with Miriam season 2 episode 1. There you go. Another name needs to be. I think though that she doesn't want to be in the spotlight anymore. She wants to live quietly. She wants to get on with her life. But yeah, she needs to be remembered though. We need to remember who she is. We need to remember what she went through. There it is. Marjan, I don't know if the FBI will ever investigate Mike Render. I don't. I mean, we don't know what the heck the FBI is doing half the time as it is. And it's not like they put any information out about it. So, I mean, how would we know if they're ever going to do it? And if they did, we don't know. Let's see. Mona, I'll get hold of you probably tomorrow. We'll talk about doing something on Tuesday. Then I know I've been waiting on seeing whether or not, seeing what you want to put out there. So, yeah, Doug, it was. We were all delighted seeing Miriam last night, seeing her doing well, seeing her smile and laugh. Oh my goodness, it was awesome. Canada loves Ukraine. Love your t-shirt. I would rather be a bad actor than a good one. if I were a good actor, that would mean I would be role playing and fake, but getting rewarded for it. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. From day one, I was called out as a bad actor in a plant. So why not wear it with pride? Post mods are the very best. Absolutely. Hey, now, Doug, I think that somebody that's planning a fishing trip should invite them out with them, since they've been here, making sure you're having a safe chatting environment, Doug. That might help. Let's see. Confident Chris activated his Nightbot, and it did a pretty good job. Awesome. And everybody, make sure you say howdy to Per Scientology Audit, good friend of the channel, planning some big stuff over there in Australia. So, Chad, you didn't call out any of your awesome mods there, bud. What's up with that?
Oh, there's too many great ones to, miss Sunrise. There's too many of them, to.
Spoken like a true master's degree politician there.
That's right. Yep. Thank you, Poe.
Let's see here. And keep those names coming, folks. Perth, no, I don't think they're being paid off. I don't think you can pay off the FBI. They got more money than anybody does. I just think that it's something that they don't feel is going to get them enough attention, get them enough notoriety. I think that's a real problem with it. Yeah, Marjan, love my mods are awesome. Yeah, the cruise wife, Nicole and Katie Holmes. Those are two good ones there that a lot of people don't think about. Is the things that Nicole Kidman and Katie went through, and how both of them have been silent since the divorce, and they're not speaking up or saying anything bad about it, or what Scientology has done to them, how they've been treated, and so could we not include them as victims of Scientology as well? I don't think that we can ignore the fact that they're victims of Scientology and they need to be thought of. The only difference is they're much more well off than I am. I mean, they're up there with Clearwater Chad money kind of people. So
thank you very much.
It's insane how, there we go. Valerie Haney, another excellent one. It's insane how her court cases turned out. Being forced into Scientology arbitration is brutal. But I hear that there's some changes on the horizon, that some of the judges are starting to say, hey, this is not in any way, this is not legit. Things are not good with this. So I think that there might be some changes that are going to be coming up in that. Mona Englert, and here we go. Jefferson Hawkins, horribly abused by Little Wavy Davy. Absolutely. And Jefferson's been in the chat here many times before. I'd love to speak to Jefferson. Let's see here. Need to write up Sir Crepitus for being late to work today. Rookies. Yeah, there you go. Oh, I know. The chief's gonna handle that. SPT never ends in Artology. FBI obviously doesn't think Scientology is a big enough fish in the pond yet, in my opinion. The amazing thing is that, I mean, they are the pond when it comes to this kind of stuff. So being the biggest fish, that's what gets me. The son of a good friend, James, he was sucked in the 90s, got out in 2019, doing good now. There we go. Folks, the fact is that we have to keep these people in our memories. We have to keep them there. Every once in a while, we need to come out. We need to say their names. We need to think of them, keep them in our thoughts, keep them in our processes, because these folks deserve to have the memory live on. And there we go. Here's another amazing one. All of the Jane Does from Danny Masterson. There you go. Excellent, Thomas Foster. Thank you so much for that one. Sure. Fat Grammy, when you see Jenna's parents, how Davy of the fake Navy has screwed up his own family. Oh my goodness. When you think about Ron Miscavige and you think back to the point where he was in that parking lot and the private investigators thought that he was having a heart attack, his own son saying, if it's his time, it's his time, let him go. Does that not tell you what kind of person David Miscavige is, what kind of heartless, brutal person he is. So if he's willing to think that way about his own father, think about how he feels about someone like Jenna. Think about how he feels about Valerie Haney. Think about how he feels about Bob Ferris, about Lisa McPherson, Whitney Mills. All right. Always out there hamming it up with Grant Cardone. But you never hear those names. I bet you'll never hear those names coming across his lips, will you? Why? You all know the reason. Yeah, Mona, I'm getting ready to get into some of those. Yeah. And I normally don't bring up Aaron's brother, Doug. It's a very, very, very tender spot for Aaron. And I generally don't bring that up because of that. But yeah, keep him in your thoughts, keep him in your prayers, keep him in your mind.
Oh, by the way, Phil, sorry to interrupt. Right. Grant Cardone does not like people talking about his religion.
Well, Grant Cardone, I'd love to talk to you about Scientology. I'd love to talk to you about Xenu. I would love to talk to you about that conversation we had with that gentleman who says that you're not actually a billionaire. I would love to have a conversation with you about Scientology, Grant Cardone. Anytime you're willing, send me an email. Give me a call. I'll be more than happy, Grant Cardone, to talk to you about Scientology. How's that?
Very good.
I think that was good. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Marjan. Is she missing? Is she really missing? Because people apparently know where she's at. And when you listen to folks like Farrell Cheryl talking about her father and how deeply he is involved in it, when you think about people like Bob Ferris and how deeply involved he is in Scientology, is Shelley on permanent RPF? Is she on something like that and believes that's where she should be? I mean, we don't know. Hopefully we'll get an answer someday. And if she is truly missing, hidden away, I truly hope that she's found. I hope that she's freed. But it's like with someone, and Pinche Becky can tell you, if someone has an addictive problem, if they don't want help and they don't want to change, you can't make them. And that's the sad thing about it in a case like Shelley Miscavige, is if that's where she wants to be, that's where she's going to be. Let's talk about the folks like Serge Delmar. Let's talk about Ono Nora. Let's talk about Aaron Smith Levin. Let's talk about Mark Claire Headley. Let's talk about Mike Rinder. Besides what you think about these folks, think of the amount of abuse that went through, the amount of terror, the physical punishment that these people suffered in this cult. Does it give them a pass on things that they're doing? No. But it is an example of the horrors that this cult brings down upon its own members. And then you think about people who, like your Serge Delmars, like your Ono Noras, and they talk about the fear of people like Claire Headley. They talk about the fear of people like Mike Rinder. Those are people that we need to also think about. We need to think about how people like Serge were not only abused, how they were terrorized by these people. We need to keep those fresh in our minds as well. There you go, Thomas. That's an excellent one. Mark Bunker. He is someone who has, and I said it when he was on here, he is an unsung hero also. He has been out there fighting this fight. There's very few people that are on the level of a Jenna Miscavige. Mark Bunker is. Sir Crepitus, who was there fighting Scientology at the same time that Jenna was starting off and fighting them as well during the anonymous days. Those are people who are old school, hardcore anti-Scientology fighters. We need to think about them as well. Sir Crepidus and the abuse he's been receiving within this very same community that we're in because of other people who don't understand the history, don't understand the fair gaming that Sir Crepidus went through. Nearly losing his job, having people go at him, having people dox him, all because he's trying to bring about the truth of what Scientology is and how they treat people. These are victims, and we need to think about that. Let's see, Mona Englert, look up the Riesdorf family. One of their sons had a mental breakdown, smashed a window at the LA org, and they had him convicted of a hate crime. Absolutely. That's another one that folks don't remember. This young man who literally had a psychological breakdown and smashed out a window with a hammer. But yet, if I remember correctly, there are people who testified that he came at them. He was convicted, put into prison. This is someone who needed mental help. And unfortunately, so many times you have people who have mental problems that simply because they don't have enough money, they don't have enough connections, they don't have enough clout. Instead of getting that mental help that they need, they stuff them away in prisons. Those are people that are victims of it. Jackson Moorhead, former head of security, lost a lot in his life because of Scientology. Absolutely. Then you start thinking about the families, the people who come out of Scientology that have been disconnected. Hey, Chad, someone's asking your email.
Oh, I'll write it in again.
Okay. Oh, I see it down there. Okay. The people whose families disconnected from them and the things that they've had to go through coming out of Scientology without a valid education and ending up unable to figure out how to take care of themselves. These are victims. Selena, I agree, Thomas. Mark Bunker was put through so much, but has managed to persevere. Absolutely. And when he was on here and I was talking to him, that was someone who was strong, someone who was not backing down, but he's still a victim of this cult and what they do. Let's see here. Mona Englert, Amy Scobie, Mary Kahn, Mark and Claire, Bobette, Tom Devat, another abused by, I mean, think about it. When you hear about the stories of the board meetings and the things that David Miscavige would do to the other board members at these meetings, to the point where making them draw faces on paper plates and put those paper plates in front of their face. I mean, and that's just the psychological kind of stuff when it comes down to actually physically harming people, punching people in the face. Why? Because some a-hole, narcissist, psychopath who made a living writing the worst science fiction in the world came up with the idea that if they're a front to Scientology, why are they walking away without a black eye kind of stuff. And that's how he handles it. Now he runs it like he is the supreme ruler. And the amazing thing is that when you hear everyone who was in during that time, Hubbard didn't like Miscavige, but he sure found a way to usurp the power and take the throne. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Poe meant supreme ruler.
Ruler. There you go. There you go. Selena, Natalie Webster, absolutely went through absolute hell. She got out and got to keep her was able to keep her family together, but that's very rare. Let's see. Becky, we have a saying in harm reduction: never work harder than the person you want to save, because then you already lost. There you go. If you're working harder than the person you're trying to save, what are you doing for them? I personally feel, and that's from someone who has been you know, I've dealt with people with addictions. I've dealt with people who have these kinds of problems. And I've always found that if I'm fighting harder than they are, all I'm doing is enabling them. Because you always find an excuse. You always find a reason. Well, we'll get you next time. We'll do this. We'll do that. And I agree. Mona, Audit and I did an educational video the other day about why people just can't leave. Yeah, well, that's a long, deep thing. I think that's something that you and I should do one on as well and bring Audit in, and we'll do another one on that. Miscavige has not an ounce of care for anyone other than himself and maybe his assistant, and she could be gone on a whim of his. Absolutely can't imagine thinking of others as trash and throwing them away. Well, when you think you are the supreme ruler, then that's the kind of thing that's the kind of thing that people, that's how people act when they get put in those positions. Doug, please don't forget about the elderly who are put in Scientology. That's why I bring up Heber Jensch and I bring up Bob Ferris. Is these are elderly who are in Scientology. You have those who are supposed to be living in assisted living places, but are they really being treated by nurses? Are they really being treated by medical professionals? When you talk about how they went to check on Heber and the police went in and there was a nurse with him the whole time, my question is, did anyone ask the nurse for the actual proof that this person is a nurse? All right. You're saying you have to be there because you are his nurse and you've got to be part of it. Where's the proof that you're a nurse? That's actually a crime to claim to be a nurse when you're not one. It's just like it's a crime to claim to be a doctor, just like it's a crime to claim to be an attorney. You can't claim one. In most states, it's actually a crime to claim to be a minister without accreditation showing that you're a minister. Let's see, locked up, neglected, credit. Oh my gosh, let's talk about the credit cards. Let's talk about the people who show up at Scientology events where they are harassed and hounded by Sea Org members who go around, make them go around with a clipboard and go through all these different presentations where they're supposed to give money so they can get signed off. How about the stories of the Scientology event where they actually moved tables in front of the doors so people couldn't leave until they had gotten enough money raised? Let's talk about those realities. And these folks are living this on a daily basis. Every time they go to a Scientology event, they're expected to empty their pockets, drain their bank accounts, max out their credit cards, all so that Scientology can have a few more pennies in its pocket and go buy more property that it's going to leave abandoned. Let's see. Nissa, are the LAPD going to be suffering any of the same consequences of Scientology? I certainly hope so. I certainly hope the people that are in the LAPD that are involved with Scientology in one way or another and have violated the rights of citizens, have overlooked the needs, the emergencies, the real problems that people are suffering, and they've done it because Scientology safe pointed the LAPD. And you have people like Tallman and I forget what the lieutenant's name is right now. Mona, please add that in for me. You have these people who are being guided by Scientology for one reason or another. I wouldn't be surprised if we found out Tallman had been through Scientology's acting classes. All right. But he's sure going to step up and he's going to be a defender for Scientology. He's going to arrest Aaron and put him in handcuffs, put him up against a car, go through everything in his pockets, while the other party, who they have video of this person physically assaulting Aaron, is allowed to empty his own pockets out. 5 different knives in his pockets. They let him bring those out and put those down. But yet Aaron has to be physically searched. Aaron has to be handcuffed. Aaron has to be thrown into a car, taken to a police station where he remained in handcuffs. And at one point, they wanted to put him in a bathroom and shackle him there. For what other purpose than torturing him? People like that deserve to be handled for the crimes they've committed. Let's see here. Gina Marie Torino. Susie O did a stream with a similar horrific homicide by a schizophrenic 19-year-old Scientologist. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I brought that up probably about 4 or 5 months ago when I was doing another live like this. Let's see. Artax, the stupid horse. Sorry, did you mention Nancy Minnie? Who are you talking about, Artax? Anyone from Scientology, the aftermath at all? Everyone who's out who are talking about Scientology, they deserve to be heard. They need to be remembered. They need to have their story told. Let's see, Miss Sunrise Dawn. I think y'all forget we can't see Chad's chat stream here on Post Channel. Yeah, if you're in Chad's chat, I can see it here on my chat line. Can you see it on your chat in there, Chad?
I can only see what I can't. Like they said, if you can't see it on yours, so
okay. I know that it's from Chad's chat because there's a symbol on there that shows it looks like a chain link, so I know what it is. Makmir Doshagal, howdy, welcome. All of the exes that ended up silenced by their partners after Scientology because they never learned about what being treated well is supposed to be like and can't speak out. What an excellent what a great statement there. Let's see. Okay, Ree, thank you. Yeah, I want to talk to you about that. And like I said, folks, next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, our friend and the person spearheading the DSR treatment system is Mr. Jamie Mustard is going to be returning, and we're going to be doing a catch up, and we're going to find out about where things are going with the DSR treatment for PTSI. And Ree, I think it'd be awesome to have you there in the chat. There you go, Thomas. Thomas, you're on a roll tonight. Kelly Copter. Kelly Copter is an excellent example. But I think, one of the great things about Kelly is it seems like she's found her feet. She's got them firmly planted on the ground. Let's see. Yeah, Confident Chris. How many times has he been a victim? Let's see. Where are you going, Marjan? Where are you going? You didn't get permission. You're just leaving? Is that how we're doing these things, Marjan? I thought you were our friend. You have a good evening, hon. Let's see. There we go. Registrars. That's what they are. They try to get their victims' credit card limits raised so they can pay for courses when they first enroll in Scientology. How many times have we heard the story from folks about how they would get their information, call and pretend to be them to get the limits on their credit cards raised so that they could get more money out of these people? I mean, in Cincinnati, you had folks that went to jail for it. Let's see here. SPTV never ends in Artology. I don't know about Officer White. I don't know about that one. And with that, I don't know if that's, is that true or not? What's going on with that about the support of his family? Indigo Twin, keep up the good work. I should be getting the mug or t-shirt I ordered this Wednesday. So excited. You know what? Mine came in. It was actually supposed to come in tomorrow, was when they originally predicted that mine would come in, and it came in 3 days ago. So I'm real happy about that. Let's see. Oh, okay. I couldn't see some of the people that, okay. I thought they had blocked me because I'm such a bad actor. Now we blocked you because you're going on a fishing trip and didn't invite any of us. That's what's going on there, Doug. Chad, let him have it. Don't be playing.
True, that's true. I mean, I need to be invited too, everyone.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. I know who you're talking about now. My billion-year contract. She was in the Sea Org for 30 years. When I saw it, when you put Nancy Minnie up there, I was thinking, is that a typo? You got to remember, there's so many names that go through my head. There's so many people I talk to on a daily basis. It gets a bit interesting to try to remember all of them. Don't forget, Luis Garcia paid millions into Scientology. Think about the people here at the Battle Creek Org. Bobby Joe Kellogg can tell you about it. There is the fact that there is I believe a husband and wife from Detroit donated $5.5 million to turn the Hart Building in Battle Creek, which Scientology in 2018 had a huge press conference talking about how that was going to be the new ideal org of Battle Creek. But the building has sat abandoned for how many years? This husband and wife donated $5.5 million to have it turned into an ideal org. And the only thing I know of that they've done so far is have a huge event talking about how they're going to turn it into an ideal org. You've had 6 years to do something with it. I have the video, I have the proof, I have the receipts. I was there. That building literally has the marble, the metal work on it, literally separating from the building. You've had 6 years and you've done nothing with it. How can I have any kind of faith that you're going to do anything now? Per Scientology Audit, I have a video clip of a guy who was an ex-Nation of Islam, and he found evidence that the FBI were allowing Scientology to infiltrate them. Send that to me. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that, and I'd like to see their what's the story on the ShamWow guy, Vince? Thomas, if you have a link to that, email it to me. I'll put my email address back in here. Let's see here. Yeah, I've never heard his story before. Oh, thank you, Susie. Yeah, I thought the flying monkey ones would be a cute one. Yeah, Davey's got to have someone there every morning to make sure he gets his cigarette and he gets his morning breakfast the way he made it. Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely. I got to look that up. After he made it, he left Scientology. They destroyed him. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to look that up. There you go, Mona. That's a great one. One of the dear friends of the channel, her and her husband, Karen Delacarriere, Jeffrey Augustine, friends of the channel, people we love. They are they're amazing people. Yep. When it comes to researching Scientology, researching the law, researching the money, all these different things, I look to Mona Fat Grammy and Jeffrey Augustine. Those two are absolute machines when it comes to researching and looking at the different laws and different ways of handling things. And it just, they are assets that, and I say assets just in the sense that they are amazing people to have that you can turn to for this kind of stuff. But they are amazing in what they do, and I don't think there's anybody else in the world of anti-Scientology that do as much as they do. Let's see here from Scientology Ottawa. Awesome. I'm over here in Michigan. You guys are just a little ways up from us. So many Scientologists that seem to be ashamed of it. They never talk. And there are a lot of them. And I've talked about this with Aaron, and I've talked about it with a few other people. There are a lot of Scientologists who come out of Scientology that don't talk about it, also because they're afraid, because of the fair gaming, because what happens with their families, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's think about the fact that Scientology will literally say, okay, we'll let you continue to have contact with your family, but you can never do anything about Scientology. You can never go public. You can never say anything, those kinds of things. How many people have we heard of that have stories like that? And yeah, Mona, that was something I didn't even, you got Karen, who was Heber Jensh's ex-wife, and their son who unalived himself, and the fact that they would not allow her to attend her own son's ceremony when he passed away. She had to have her own celebration of life away from it, would not let her go and see her son's body. That's what this organization is. That's what they think of everybody else. Let's see. Selena, you were correct on. It was pneumonia, and he had to discover for several hours. Wow. Okay. So, okay. So it wasn't unalived. He died of pneumonia. Like I said, there are so many cases. There are so many things going on. And it's hard to keep on top of it. Honestly.
Yeah,
This
you're right.
passed away for this reason. This person passed away for this reason. This person had this happen to him. This person had this happen. If you start looking into these things and the more it's like breaking open an ant mound. If I can use, an example, you step on an ant mound, you break open an ant mound, and it just all comes flooding out. That's what it's like. Let's see. I was protesting today. 2 minutes. They came out with cameras. I was shocked at how fast they came out. Well, that tells you you're doing something because they know that you're out there and they're trying to do what they got to do. Let's see. Tori Magoo, another excellent one. Yeah. Tori Magoo. Let's see. FYI, Nancy Manny is good friends with Tony Chrisman. Nancy is now a non-denominational reverend. Wow. Well, they've turned it around. That's for sure. Mona Englert, Scientology threatened the funeral home to the point that they told Karen that she couldn't go in and say goodbye. Yeah. Well, that's, whether they did it directly to her or they did it through another means, they stopped her from being able to be at her own son's funeral. They stopped her from being able to see her child, to have closure after his passing, to see and hear and feel the pain in her voice when I talked to her about this. What it has done to her. She's one of how many that have ended up in the same situation. And, think about Mike Render's ex-wife and children, all the wives that were on that interview that they call the inch wives, because they all said the same thing. I know every square inch of my husband's body, and I can tell you, all right, tell me that wasn't scripted. This is what they do. They safe point their own members to make sure that they tell the information they want put out. And they sound like robots.
Yeah.
I know every square inch of my husband's body. I know that. And that's how they sound. They sound so insincere. They sound so fake when they're doing these things. And they think that they're doing an awesome job. Hey, look, we got every one of them to say it. And they did it exactly like we told them. That's how we do things. They're not fooling anybody. But they think they are. Mona Englert. Christy Gordon was a victim of child SA. Let's see. Scientology out at Ottawa. I can't believe a true religion would do this. It would never happen. How is this okay or normal? Because they were able to find their way in, find their niche, stay hidden for the most part, and anyone who wanted to talk about them was attacked. They went after people like Paulette Cooper, like Russell Miller, and with Paulette Cooper, tried to talk her into unaliving herself, tried to get her put in prison for a terrorist attack or a terrorist threat that they orchestrated, but yet tried to use it as Paulette had done this. Russell Miller, trying to associate him with a homicide that happened in a place that he wasn't at, and trying to not only get the man charged with it, but they wanted to see him put in prison for this. All right, John Sweeney, the reporter, relentlessly attacked. People coming up to him in airports screaming out, "Hey, John, do you still like children?" Things like that. That's Scientology. Well, Doug, I mean, when they threaten to put you in jail and the police are standing there, that's the crazy thing about it. But I can tell you, I've seen funerals where it's happened.
Yeah.
Ellie Perkins, victim of homicide by Scientology. Sins of Scientology did a great video of Heber Jensch, worth checking out. I've been sent a link to it. The wives just got out of the hole to do the interview.
Yep, that's what Mike said.
Yeah. Then look at how they attacked Render at his doctor's office. And then his ex-wife turns around. Oh, he blew my shoulder out. He did this to my arm. He beat me relentlessly. But everybody, all of the proof of it was that he was the one who was being attacked. No matter how you feel about Render, no matter how you feel about the things he's done or has continued to do, he also was put through hell by this organization. Yeah. But is he receiving the hell that he orchestrated, that he built, running OSA? Can you claim to be a victim of your own design? And that's a question I have. Yeah, the Ellie Perkins story is tragic. I'm definitely going to be looking into that one. And Perth, can you email me with some info about it? Let's see. John Sweeney, Tony Ortega. Yeah, I mean, Tony Ortega went through hell. No matter how you feel about Tony Ortega, he did go through hell. Oh, thank you, Real Sassafras. Thank you. And glad you're here. All right, folks. So, these are all things we have to think about. These are all things we need to keep fresh in our mind. We've got so many other distractions going on. You've got the baby reindeer with the blog and talking all the BS that's going on. You've got a former OSA head who appears to be trying to dead agent people. You have so many things going on. The purpose that we need to keep fresh in our mind isn't just bringing down Scientology. It is remembering the victims. All right. And that's the reality of it. And Sassafras, a lot of us have gone through that same thing. There is some divisions going on that are causing some people to no longer be subscribers. But also, I found that there were a lot of channels that I was a subscriber to that I was unsubscribed from, and found out that if I wasn't going in and commenting or doing something or liking videos and things like that, YouTube would think I was no longer interested and would automatically unsubscribe me. So, Chad, you got any parting thoughts for us tonight?
No, this is great though, Paul.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being back here. You're like a brother, and we love having you on. Is anybody live right now?
I could check.
Clearwater Chad's live. Oh, JDSA is live. So let me quick, and I will get the link there. If y'all want to jump over to JDSA's channel, let him, we'll do a room raid on him. So let's go on over there, say howdy to JDSA. Folks, thank you so much. As always, you being here, you matter. You make a difference. We need to remember the victims. Having you here, having you part of this is so important. Thank you so much for sharing your time, sharing your essence with us. And as always, folks, life is short. You get one shot. Make it count.